Okay guys, as you can see, I'm back under the camper again. So that means we're gonna reassemble this shackle links. So let's get started. Okay guys, so I had to go break down and buy a heavy duty 20-ton jack. Now a 20-ton bottle jack will lift up to 40,000 pounds. Might be a little overkill, but why not? Go big or go home. So what we're going to do is, we've got everything pretty much back almost in alignment, and then we will put these guys here into those little holes over yonder, and then in theory, once we get that done and get the bolt back in the top, we should be all right. We were going to put a new equalizer in, which that's the T looking thing there in the middle hanging down there. Let's see if you guys can get a better view of that. Yeah, you see that right there in the middle between the two springs? But the one that they got in for us is the wrong one, so we're going to use the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new bushing in the middle, which in theory will hold until we decide if we're going to go ahead and upgrade all the suspension underneath here like I've been considering, and we'll touch base on that in a later video. But we're going to get started here. Guys, as you guys can see, apparently the camera decided to kick off during the hard part, but this is the problem, or was the problem. Now we have totally got that back in place where it needs to be, and we had to utilize our old equalizer. Not advised, but it's going to have to work for us at the present moment, because we're going to schedule to leave. So we got to get this thing together, because we got to get out of here. We got to hit the road, Jack. Okay guys, so since the camera quit running when I was trying to show you guys how to bolt all this stuff together, I'm going to show you a little different way here. Now, this is the parts that failed on our rig. It wasn't the bolt, it was these things here. These right here are called shackle links. And essentially what these do is they have an equalizer that hooks to the bottom bolt here. And so the bottom of the equalizer rides on this bottom bolt, and these top ones here go to your leaf spring. So what that in turn it does, it sets up here just like so, your leaf spring up here holding into place. So this right here is basically almost like a floating axle. And over time with this particular setup, it's not that it's a bad design, it's just, you know, one of those kind of designs that you need the flexibility. Because when you think about it, when you're backing one of your RVs in and you're hitting some of these RV parks that are money hungry, and they give you these tight little areas here, you're putting your RVs on such of a bind. So basically, since these are designed to flex and move like this a little bit, what you do is you tend to end up eroding the metal up here at the top and get metal fatigue up here. And that causes the biggest part of your failure. It's not usually the bolt that's ever going to fail on you, but it can happen. But like I said, when you're backing into these places and these things are this way, that way, and they're flexing in and they're flexing out, like I said, usually like, you know, water over stone, you know, after so many years, like Grand Canyon, for instance, you know, all those years and millions of years of, you know, water erosion, you get the nice little landscape that we all like to go enjoy. And think about it, these RVs here, let me get that down before I drop it and hurt myself. RVs weren't really designed to be lived in full time. The older rigs. Now some of the newer rigs they're kind of catering to more of a full-time lifestyle on these things, but these were, you know, designed to get to a location and set up for a couple weeks, and a lot of people didn't use them on a regular basis. So I think the industry needs to come up with some better suspension components to kind of combat that. But at this time, there's people working on it, and the suspension systems have gotten better over the years. You know, but it's still a spring ride system. And, you know, these things, because of the tension strength on these springs, you get a lot rougher ride with a traditional leaf spring ride. Now, that's where I was considering doing a whole conversion, new leaves, and also add a shock system like you have on your tow rig, your, you know, your pickup truck, or, you know, passenger car. That will kind of dampen some of that, so where maybe you can get some better components that don't need to have so much flex and give in them. But, you know, I ought to come up with that. That could be $1 million idea. But anyway, you know, at the time, this is what we have. This is what we all have. And pretty much about 90% of all your rigs out there, especially when they're brand new, they have this system on it. I know some of the new ones are coming out with some better systems already from the factory, and that's good, but they're still new reasonably to the RV industry, so you know, we don't know what the stress points are on those just yet. This is not a bad design, it works, but like I said, unfortunately sometimes, you know, this is the things that break, and you have to reevaluate and re-see the situation and correct it. And that's where it comes into looking at your rig before and after every trip. Get down there and look and see if you can find the fatigue. Now ours, I glanced at it, I didn't look as hard as I probably should have that day, but you know, I heard a little. Your ears are your best friend, especially when you're hauling these. You know, you've hauled your rig long enough, you know what sounds right, what doesn't sound right back there. When we were articulating to back into this very tight RV resort, I heard a clicking, and upon getting backed into our site here at the resort, looked back under there, and sure enough, they were broke. So the way ours is orientated is looking from the outside wasn't good enough, because that one shackle was still pretty much holding on before we got here. So looking in from the outside, just glancing back in there, it looked fine, because the other one was still up there, because it had, remember, little collars there that was sticking up where I showed you in the previous video. What it was doing was just sitting on the back side of that bolt, so it hadn't dropped off. So physically looking from the outside here, looking back from, you know, the curb side of the vehicle, I couldn't actually tell that the link was broke on the back side because the leaf spring was in the way. So this is where you have to get up and down on your knees, crawl around, and actually go under these things and look. Thankfully, we were able to catch ours before we had to go back out on the road, interstate, you know, because that could have been a very, very bad situation. That could have caused, you know, like I said, a very big catastrophe. We could have flipped the RV, you know, the axles could have broke off, we could have lost the leaf. We got lucky that when ours broke, it landed against the frame of the trailer, but you're not always going to be that lucky, you know, because if that bolt's not in there, and that's a scary thought too, there's just that bolt that's actually holding that stuff together to the frame of your RV with the shackle hangers, and that is where the purchase that your actual leaf springs mount to on your RV. So with that kind of failure, that will allow your axles to roll out from underneath your rig. You know, depending on if you get lucky enough just to lose the whole axle and go straight out, you might still be able to keep control of it with a tandem axle trailer. Highly unlikely that you will be able to, but think about it. If one side breaks and one side turns this way or one side turns that way, what that's going to do is going to pitch your rig in a very undesirable situation. It's going to put you in an orientation you do not want to be in, and like I said, that could cause you to roll over, flip, hurt yourself, hurt somebody else in traffic, you know, and it could be a deadly situation. So that's something that you really need to be mindful of. And the lug nuts, you know, always check your lug nuts. Everybody does that. Check your tire pressures, and the same with your tow rig, with your vehicle you're towing your RV with. It needs to go through the same sort of visual inspections before you hit the road each and every time. Tire pressures, because an underinflated tire can make you pull wrong and put things out of whack too. So, you know, you really got to be very mindful of those kind of situations. And like I said, your ears are your best friend. Listen to anything. You know your vehicle better than anybody. Listen for things that sound out of the normal of what you've heard forever. And if you think or even got an inkling that there might be something wrong, stop, check it out. If you don't know what you're looking at, take it over and have it looked at, just to be on the safe side. Now, I'm going to talk turkey here. So, this little job I did today on this RV, we're finishing it up, I had about $50 in parts just to fix, well, I got parts to fix the rest. So, altogether, $50 in parts and buying a jack that was actually heavy duty enough to lift this RV up into the orientation that I needed it to be in to actually get everything realigned back there. And that's another thing. When you go to do this, you have to make sure your axles do not get out of alignment. If they get out of alignment, it's going to cause uneven wear on your tires, and it's actually going to cause you to, you know, have a tire failure and, you know, bearing failures, all kind of different things when things are not lined up. So use the appropriate equipment to lift your RV. Now, like I said, you saw the jack in the beginning of the video. That was slightly overkill for this rig. We're 13,000 pounds, and that thing will lift 40. But you know what? It's better to have more than you need sometimes, especially when it comes to a jack. And also, always use jack stands. Never crawl under your rig without a pair of jack stands, just in case things come off of a jack. You don't want to be under one of these 13,000 pound or heavier RVs. Hell, you don't want to be under one for 500 pounds to come landing on you. It can still kill you. So be mindful, be safety first on that. But so by doing these repairs myself, I actually save myself quite a bit of money, because most RV shops that come out to you, they're going to charge you a service call fee to come out to your particular location to repair your rig. Some mobile repair guys will not repair this kind of thing without taking it to their shop. But even worst case scenario, they don't want to do it here. Worst case scenario, they take it to the shop. They're going to charge you more money too. It really doesn't matter if they come to you or you whatever. Other than the service call, it's probably going to balance out about what they're going to charge you. So anyway, with me doing this myself and having about $50 and some change, less than 60 bucks altogether with new bushings and everything, and an hour of my time, it saved me anywhere between $300 to $500 doing this job myself. Now, if I were to do the whole complete repair underneath all the way around, it would have probably took me about 3 hours to do an entire shackle link replacement and new bushings, equalizers, and all that stuff, provided that your bolts come apart friendly. Anyway, guys, like I said, just double check your equipment before you leave. I hope this kind of helped a little bit. Like I said, sorry the camera quit running, and I wasn't taking it back apart just to show you guys how me sliding the bolts in, because it pretty much works just like I showed you here. But look at it. There's plenty of good stuff online here, and if you guys ever have any questions about how to put a pair of shackle links in your RV, you're always welcome to email me, message me, leave it in the comments. Be happy to answer you to the best of my ability. Until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Remember to check your RVs before you take off on your trip. Get out and adventure more, and we'll talk to you guys down the road. Bye.